I'm Rob, and today we're in the village of Selborne at the Selborne Arms. So the Selborne Arms is a building from the 1600s. It was timber framed originally, and originally a farmhouse and a blacksmith's. It was stone clad in the Regency period and became a beer house in the 1870s. To start the walk, we're going to walk down the lane to the left of the pub towards Selborne Common. So in this phone box, unusually these days, there's a phone. You see the cobwebs hanging off the receiver though. Now that, in microcosm, is exactly why there are no phones in phone boxes hardly ever now. It's so long since someone's used it. There's cobwebs on it. Now for those of you that come by bus and like to use public transport, stagecoach number 38 stops right at the pub here. Play park to the right, we walk straight on. Now don't be tempted by the footpath, we're carrying on up the little lane. And we're on the Hanger's Way. So don't take the low road, take the high road. So as the driveway bends round, you've got this stone wall and this hedge. There's a gap between the two houses which runs up here, and this is what we have to take. It's a right of way, but I see no arrows. Quite a steep hill up, just up his alley. At the top of that long steep hill there's a bench, and it's at this bench that we follow the path on round to the right. So there's a bench to your left if you're a bit tired since the last bench. And then this is the top of the Zig Zag path. Lovely view down the hill there. Shame it's so wet because there are lovely views. And those white balls over there, if you're wondering what they are, it's RAF oak hanger, and it's radars for nuclear warning. This is the famous Zig Zag path, and we're walking down it rather than up. And it was cut in the 18th century by pretty much England's first naturalist, Gilbert White, and his brother. And it's cut into Selborne Hanger, which is where we've been. So Gilbert, his day job, it wasn't being a naturalist, because there was no such thing then. He was pretty much the first to be doing it, writing down all the plants and animal species here in Selborne. He's actually a curate, and he was a curate at Newton Valence and Farringdon, which is not too far away. And these zigzag steps do make it much easier to go up, and definitely to go down the hill. Another bench halfway down. Oh, hello! We've got some more walkers. So there's the sign at the bottom. And there we are, looking back up at it. It's quite a pleasant walk actually. It's more pleasant than I thought. Then we finally come out the bottom of the steps. Little donation point if you want to give to the National Trust, who own the common. But we carry straight on this lower path. I don't know what these little gazebo type affairs and picnic benches are in the field. Answer on a postcard please, or in the comments if you know. So at the moment it's a lovely flat path along the base of Selborne Hanger. Just looking up at the hanger. Now pretty soon on the right we come to a stile and a sign, and we're going to take the footpath away from the hangers so we can find the latch. And make sure you take the right well-worn path into that corner of the field down there. And that looks like an oast over there, and oasts we use for drying hops. And this area was quite big on growing hops and brewing once upon a time. No need for answers on a postcard, just found it on the gate. That's Gilbert White's garden. And the house that he lived in there was called the Wakes. It's now a museum. But we continue down to the road. So we finally come down off the hangers and the common. There's the Oast house. There's a big blue van ruining the picture, as they always do. But we're going to continue up that road towards the thatched cottage there. Now, as you can see from the disc markers, that was part of the Writer's Way. And that's a 17-mile long-distance footpath. And that celebrates the lives of Jane Austen, Gilbert White and William Cobbett. All of this locality. It runs sort of from Alton, Chawton Way through to Selborne. And we're heading back into the village. Nice hollyhocks. Now we get to the main road and we cross over by Selborne Pottery towards the church. So let's have a look at the pottery. So we're at Selborne Pottery, and this is
Rob Goldsmith.
Rob Goldsmith, who I believe is the owner of the pottery.
I am, yeah. I'm just making a whole series of salt pots for various orders for Fortnum Mason and for a shop in London. Another shop in London. We sell a lot of those, so I'm having to make a lot of them, unfortunately. But there we go.
And that's a skill that everybody thinks they can do until they've done it.
Exactly. Yeah, it takes a little while.
So how many pots could you make in a day if you had a big order?
The ones on the shelf I made yesterday.
Oh, crikey.
So that's quite a few, I suppose, about 50 or something. I have to do other things as well, but that's just the start of it. They're not finished yet. They've got the holes made in them. And
and glazing and painting and so on.
Jen's amazing decorating skills. That's what she's doing at the moment. You might want to take a little shot.
I'll have a look over there.
If Jen doesn't mind.
And this is Jenny, everybody.
Just doing some little pinstripe pots. These are for Fortnums, actually.
Ah. Hello, Bella. That's the potter's dog.
Yeah, she's very sweet. Everyone comes to see her, not the pots. They come to see her. Yeah,
and lovely little courtyard with some lovely vines.
Yeah, come in the autumn. Everyone gets a free bunch of grapes.
Oh,
very productive here in October.
Excellent.
We have masses of them.
So this is the main showroom.
Oil pourers.
And you're open every day, are you?
We are actually. Yeah, 7 days a week rather. Working during the week, and then weekends we get the kids in the village to look after the showroom. From 10:30 till 4:30 at the weekends at the moment.
So when you come along on this walk, it's well worth popping in and having a look and maybe buy something. From the pottery we're following the Hanger's Way now, and it passes close by the church, so we're going to have a look at the church. This is St Mary's in Selborne. There's been a site on this church since Saxon times. This one is Norman from 1180, but much modernised. This is the Selborne Yew. It's 1400 years old. There's not a lot of it left now, but Her Majesty the Queen did designate it as one of Britain's greatest trees. There's a big silver birch grown up through the middle of it. Ah, there we are. That's why the yew looks such a state. It was brought down in January 1990, the most of it. The bell ringing's done from the bottom of the bell tower. That saves a climb up some narrow steps. That's a lovely stained glass window. So there's a well varnished section of the Selborne yew, obviously cut after it had come down in the storm. Handy sign at the back of the church. So there we are, Gilbert White's grave. Very nondescript, as he wanted. He just wanted a plain stone with GW inscribed on it. We've come from the back of the church down onto what appears to be the main path, or the footpath. So we'll follow this path through the graveyard, which I think is the right of way. Some horned beasts that we've got to get by, and they have got a calf over there, so we would hope that they don't get too frisky because they have horns. But we're heading over here and over the footbridge. It's a short live, so we continue as the path bends round to the right to the long live. Nicely made up paths, and down the bottom there's a little stream. So I enjoyed that visit to the pottery. It was very nice, and Robert Goldsmith, the potter there, he opened it 35 years ago and made a great success of it. So well worth a visit when you're passing this way. And we've got another kissing gate before we go into the field. So down by the pond we've got a heron stalking out the fish. I don't see many fish. That heron could be waiting all day. But we continue to follow the path between two of the three lakes. So from the lakes you enter in a little bit of woodland again, through another kissing gate, over a footbridge, and carry on. So that's Priory Farm across the field there. It was the site of Selborne Priory, which was extant from 1233 to 1486, and it was an Augustinian priory. It was acquired by Magdalen College, Oxford, and demolished. So we come off the path next to the sheep field and we turn right to take us down towards Priory Farm. As the lane bears off to the left, we carry straight on. Looks like they have off-road vehicles use this maybe, even though the sign says no. They put a lot of aggregate in front of the lane. Well, middle of July. I'm glad I wore the hiking boots today. So there's a little stream that's in the middle of the valley. Surprisingly nobody about today. Mind you, the weather forecast was foul. It's not turned out as bad as all that, but still surprisingly quiet. Even the tree deserves a sit down, like. It's just grown through the iron bench. And no, I'm not going to go on that rope swing, not on that slope with the river at the bottom. Whew, the lane on the home straight is remarkably steep as well. So we come out the end of Hucker's Lane, a little bit further up from the pottery and the church, and we're going to turn left to head back to the pub. And there's Selborne Village Hall. Almost back to the pub. There's quite a busy old road runs through the village. One what have we got here? Oh, a little coffee shop, La Luna, and gifts. That's very nice, but we're heading to the Selborne Arms. This is a peaceful village now, but back in 1830 there was one of the last peasant revolts here, and it involved farm labour, similar to a swing riot. So the end of the French War was the perfect storm for people's living conditions. The working person had never had it so bad, to be honest with you. There had been 2 previous years of poor harvest. The extra manpower, the soldiers returning from France, meant there was less work, and the work there was less paid. The dole money, people that earned the dole money had to do odd jobs, basically. One of those odd jobs, the farmers soon realised, could be farm work, so the farm labourers' wages were depressed and depressed and depressed, and that all snapped in the 1830 riot. 300 people descended on Selborne, and the 2 people in the village that took the brunt of it were the vicar and the master of the workhouse, both of which were not liked. The vicar set the tithes, that was the rents that the farmers had to pay. First of all, they descended on the church and the vicar. The vicar had the power to lower the tithes. The farmers were egging them on, albeit quietly, and they managed to get the tithes reduced. Satisfied with this, they went on to the workhouse. They completely destroyed the workhouse, ripping down the roof, ripping out the fixtures and fittings. There are about 300 men at this point. The men, now joined by ladies, also moved on to Headley. The workhouse at Headley was destroyed too, the women stealing the linen and the bedding from the workhouse. By this time, some estimates have it there were 1,200 men and women on these riots, although I'm sure some were onlookers. The riots settled down. They were fuelled by beer and discontent and poverty, so you can see where they were coming from. But they settled down after that, and the hunt was on to find the perpetrators. For Selborne, that meant 22 men were arrested. Most of them transported to Australia, New South Wales. But at least one of them was executed. Hard to believe these days in such a quiet village that this sort of history happened, but there we are. So that was a lovely walk. The weather forecast said rain all morning. Very nearly turned back. If I was driving, we would have turned back, but Trent was driving, so he carried on, much to my chagrin, but he was right, because it's been mainly dry.
I was dead right. He absolutely wanted to turn round, but it wasn't happening.
He's insufferable, we don't realise I edit him out. But anyway, that was a nice walk. I'd say it was round about 5 miles. Quite strenuous up to the hangers, and a little bit at the end coming up the lane, but otherwise very good. I think we've worked up a hunger, so we'll go for some lunch. So follow me up and let's get some lunch. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I don't know, that's the bit I want to get to, but...
Go on, keep it clean.
Hang on.
Even if you fall in the mud, keep it clean.
Yeah, whatever.
No naughty language.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there is a word. Oh, shit. This... No, it's going to work. Look.
All for the sake of a pair of boots.
Yeah, got it, look.
Oh,
Yep.
what? I thought you were going over.
Oh,
Why? Why doesn't he buy a pair of hiking boots?
I don't want to own any hiking boots.
Or wellies or something.
I don't do hiking boots.
It must be preferable to mud wrangling.
Yeah, got away with it.